Is it on? My thing didn't blink yet.
It's recording the call, it says.
It's recording?
Yes.
All right.
All right, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Two Guys, One Moop. Here today with the Puerto Rico lovers. Oh, yeah. Motherfuckers over here. These two beautiful boys decided to join us. They're members of the same club that we associate with.
Absolutely.
I have JM at my top, and then my bottom is Mr. Cease 29. So this has been a long, Mr. Worldwide. There you go.
Worldwide.
Dale.
Haha, dale.
Awesome.
Perfecto. We wanted. Oh, of course, yeah. And that's fucking Fuzz. Hi. Yeah. Hey, Holmes.
Hey, Holmes.
Hey, Holmes.
Órale, güey. Órale, güey.
Órale,
I'm sorry, I'm so gringo. But yeah.
I'm not saying that because I'll offend somebody.
I am allowed to say that because I did the ancestry, and it turns out that besides being 100% fucking OG, I am 1% whatever Spanish culture you want me to be. No, so today this is gonna be our last episode we filmed prior to Halloween. We've been doing like a little spoopy, Halloweeny kind of thing going up until now. So
telling some spooky shit, getting some fun stuff going on. I got my spoopy cup. I don't know if you can even see it. Skeleton cup.
Yeah, I got my spoopy cup too.
Oh.
I don't know why I just put my mouth on that.
You're a brave soul, sir.
Yes, you are, sir.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Suck.
No demons and ghosts in that mouth.
No. But on a more serious, the power of Christ compels you.
Yeah.
I don't
Would it
know.
be Christ or the power of dick?
The power of
the penis. The power of penis compels you.
Always.
The power of peen.
What are we doing? I can't even get this out.
Oh shit. Alrighty.
All right. So these two fine gentlemen here have some really interesting stories that we touch base on. The Santeria. Julio is probably going to have his wife come up, and she's loaded with fucking really crazy cool stories that are spoopy in nature. But before we get to that, I wanted to touch base on a little bit of the nerdy aspect of it. The nerdy aspect of our show, the comic thing. So Javier here, Mr. JM, gifted me this pin right here. Yeah, and I knew who she was, but do you guys know who she is? So would you like to touch base on this character and why she is so important?
Yes. I'm going to read it from the Wikipedia because if I mess it up, all the Puerto Ricans are going to kill me. So,
whip a motherfucker.
That's right. So her name is Maria Rios de la Luz. Do you get it? Because we always got to have the 80 names attached to it. She's supposedly a student from Columbia University. She has a major in Earth and Environmental Studies. And studying abroad in Puerto Rico, shortly after arriving, she finds out that her classes at the University of Puerto Rico are not longer available due to budget cuts. She decides she creates her own lab in the back of her grandfather's cafe, where she will conduct research on the rock samples that acquires from her exploration of 5 caves. And then supposedly she gets powers from the rocks that she finds, these 5 special rocks. And they're all from these different gods. One is Atabex, Huracan, and Yucahu. If I'm saying that wrong, hey, I'm a Puerto Rican from New York. What can I tell you? But the point is that she is a defender of Puerto Rico's environment, the island itself, its history, its culture. She's there to defend it. Nice. She was there. They created her based on the Reformation of Puerto Rico, trying to change the whole situation that was happening with them not having jobs, and after the the big hurricane and everything else. You know how the U.S. helped us out. So that was the basis of why they created and
Awesome.
I thought I'd give it to you because you know you're an honorary Puerto Rican, so why not?
1%.
That's it.
He
Um,
has some Puerto Rican in him.
Oh, he has.
I did last night. Some in the front and in the back.
Dingo.
Bazinga. No, I was actually exposed to this character. I want to say in probably 2018. I went to Forbidden Planet in Manhattan, which is
Nice.
a comic book store in Manhattan. Actually, let's pour one out for the homies that went out of business recently. With you lost St. Mark's, and then just very recently, what today?
Yeah, I just
lost,
got the time machine, man, officially shut down, man, which is very, very sad.
So New York lost a lot of its comic culture today between that and St. Mark's.
Still got Midtown though. Durr.
Yeah, Midtown. Fucking Midtown.
Can I do this?
Yeah.
Fuck Midtown, man.
Yeah, Midtown. Midtown can suck a fart out of my ass, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
But whatever, it is.
It is what
it's just unfortunate. Well, I hate to say it is what it is because that's somebody's livelihood.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that was a very iconic place because it's one of the oldest, and it was so cool on the inside. St. Mark's, I'm not completely. Listen. I'm sad they went out of business, but I'm not completely shocked because I went in there several times, and every single time I went in there, the person that was working there and or the owner was a giant fucking dickhead.
Yeah.
But that being said, it still was a really cool shop. You know, you'd walk along St. Mark's in a really cool part of Manhattan, and it was like you stumbled upon it. It was down like in like a sub basement.
Yeah.
And they had some really cool books, but they were really overpriced. But still, at the end of the day, you know, you don't want somebody's business to shut out. But anyway, so I went to Forbidden Planet and I saw this hella thick superhero, and I was like, "What's this?"
Yes, sir.
And lo and behold, I picked up the issue and saw this character. I picked it up. It's in my read list that is probably around 504 issues long. And it keeps getting pushed back because I have to read the fucking Blackest Night. So all you Green Lantern fools can get off my dick.
Yes, sir.
And then I have to read Gambit Origins, and I have to read Hellboy, and I have to read fucking Kanto. But yes, so yeah, it's a sweet character. It's really awesome. You have a minority character that's Puerto Rican, so that obviously means it's also still tied to the United States because people know Puerto Rico, United States is like so.
East Coast
female, yes, East Coast chapter, and I think that's a really cool idea and cool concept. So,
real quick, we got the history, we got all this cool shit. What's the name of the character?
La Borinqueña.
La Borinqueña.
Nice.
That's her name, La Borinqueña. Yeah.
Hell
She's
yeah.
a hottie. He's definitely a hottie in the cartoons, bro.
Woo! And she thick, son.
Or like we say in the hood, mad thick, son.
Yeah.
Mad thick.
So that is that. Huge shout out to all that. Also, but if you're also into the Puerto Rican comic book culture and Latino comic book culture, please check out Ghetto Clown.
Hell yes.
It's a great fucking story. It's John Leguizamo. It reads really well. It's pretty sweet. And he's awesome and actually really writes awesome things with comic books. Ghetto Clown.
I'll check that out, man.
Yeah,
'cause
definitely will. Absolutely.
I wonder if it's like a spin from when he played Clown in the Spawn movie.
Right.
It is not.
Oh,
Oh.
no. Okay.
It's more real life. Like, you know his stand-up about his life that he does?
Yeah.
It's hilarious. He puts... I mean, it's a depressing topic because he went through a lot of shit. You know, but he puts that spin on it to just, instead of being sad about your past, try to make jokes about it and move on from it. So it's like that transcribed into a comic book with some comic booky twist. It's really, really awesome. So
I'll definitely have to check it out. Is it floppy form or they have trades?
I think it was only trade. I
Nice.
was lucky enough to pre-order it when I saw it on Amazon, and it was actually he was shocked, and so was his handler when I saw him in Comic-Con because I wanted him to sign it because everybody and their mother didn't have that book because it sold out so quick and it was old. And when I brought it to his table, he was like, "What the fuck? Where'd you find this?" And I was like, "Yo, sometimes a man's got to suck dick in Grand Central," and that's what hit us off. We became like BFFs. We sat there and talked for a while, so much so that his handler was like, "All right, like, come on, like, go on." So, but yes, that's that.
Delinquenzamo's got a sign. Get.
Nice.
Super cool dude,
Nice.
though, too.
Yeah, very cool, dude.
Yeah, I saw him live once about maybe 10 years ago.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was amazing. He's really, really funny.
He's always.
But
It's
yeah,
funny.
he's really cool.
10 years ago, you saw him?
I think about 10, maybe.
That was
or
what
even
your
more.
was that for your 60th birthday or?
That was for my 75th, bro.
Oh, okay.
75th. Yep, almost. Yeah, 75 is a beautiful life, man.
For those that don't know, JM is immortal. He is a Highlander.
Yes.
He,
Yes.
if
I
you-
sing that song every day. Who Wants to Live Forever by Queen. Every day.
OG Viejo right here, man.
That's right.
Oh,
I
Two
can't-
abuelos. Two abuelos.
Yeah, two abuelos. Oh yeah, Spaz needs to hear that story. Oh my goodness. Between him and Ed last night, it was just like they're both sitting at the head of the table, by the way.
That's right.
And it was just like I
they're
was
like
sandwiched.
opposite ends.
Yes.
Or nice.
On opposite ends, and I was just like sandwiched between like this Viejo goodness. But I cannot be myself if I don't say this though. It like Javier, can you just kind of like tilt your head just a little bit?
All right. There we go.
Yeah,
Okay.
see, he still has his hair, and Julio, which is half his age, doesn't. Mr. Worldwide.
yeah, bro.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
that's that.
And
So
then
why? Go ahead.
no, I don't know what I was gonna say.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. So why are we here? All right, guys. I want to hear stories. I know that I said one of Javier's stories about the hairy man, the hairy
Yes.
monster.
Mhm.
Like I said, Julio's got some stuff, and let's do it.
I do have one question before we start, and that one of you can explain to me personally. What is the actual definition of Santeria?
JM can answer that.
Yeah, she probably could answer because, yeah, I mean, I can answer it from experience of what I see. It's
Okay.
a mixture, from my understanding, it's a mixture of Catholicism, African religion, and pretty much just a mixture of that.
Okay.
It was sort of slave driven coming from, and it created that religion where they, I guess they follow these 7 gods.
Okay.
They call them the Siete Potencias, which means 7 gods. Julio's wife could probably explain it a lot more than I can.
Yeah.
My mom was what they call a head santera, which was like top, like people will go to her,
Okay.
talk to her and get whatever, and we would have things in the house and everything. So
would that translate to like a voodoo or like hoodoo priestess?
sort of, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, it can. I mean, there's different parts of it. I
Right.
believe.
Obvious.
There's black and then there's the white. So, yeah, but definitely, Julio's wife could definitely explain that way better than I can on that part anyway.
Because I always assumed that Santeria is the other spectrum of something as voodoo and stuff like that. Because if I remember correctly, voodoo is more based in light magic and hoodoo is more of the dark, but I'm not 100%
Black
sure.
magic.
Yeah,
So-
black magic. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't know if there were like 2 sides to the Santeria aspect where there's one that's like called Santeria that's the light magic, and there's something else that's more for the black magic or all under one umbrella.
I believe there is. I mean, there could be. You can use it for bad
Evil.
things as well. Yeah, evil things as well. So
All right, man. Well, I mean, with your mom being what she was, dude, let's hit with some
Well,
shit.
let's see. Well, I'm going to repeat the story because we talked about it. When I was a kid, my mom used to have what we call, I guess it's not a seance, but it's almost like a a group of people would come over to the house and they would come and talk to her, and they would light candles and they would call on the gods for enlightenment. And my mom is the conduit.
You're right.
So there's a god called Chango that would come and I guess possess my mom, and she would talk to them and give them advice, and they would get what we call a trabajo, which means it's like a workup, and they
Okay.
would get cleansed and cards read, and I can remember there was this statue that had it was a hand, and each hand had one of the gods.
Oh,
So
okay.
that would be sort of what
That's really cool.
they would be. It's not praying to, but we would have an altar, and there would be gods, and there would be Catholic statues and other things there. And I remember this one night, it was just insane. My mom, I remember her whole voice, like she became this man, like
Holy-
her whole voice changed.
Damn.
Like imagine I'm 7, 8 years old, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like holy shit. And then my mom would make me stay there. Like you could not run out. Like you couldn't run scared. You had to sit there, and because it would bring whatever, if it was evil or it was bad, you would take it with you.
Oh, it's
Okay.
right away.
You couldn't break it. Right.
So it's kind of like the doorway was open. So if you took off, you just kicked the door open and anything could flow.
Right.
through.
You can attract it or
Okay.
whatever it is. I mean, it's supposed to be a good god because Chango is
Right.
I don't know. I kind of mix up with that. Like if he's good or not. Your wife will probably can tell me, Julio, like where that mix up is.
Right.
But she had changed her voice. She became a man. It's like holy shit. And she told these people stuff that they wouldn't know and she shouldn't know. But whatever. The point is, after that, we all go to bed, and I go to sleep, and all of a sudden I get like how you get like that move, like you feel like you got to turn around, like you feel like something's there.
Yeah.
So you move. So I'm 7, 8 years old. I turn around and there's this figure literally standing in the middle of my door. Now you're talking, this is an old tenement. Me and my sister I think was 2 at the time. We slept in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured it was my sister standing there. So I go, I say, Angie, is that you? Why are you standing there in the middle of the thing, you dumbass? And this thing just stands there, nothing, and it's all full of hair. It's just one big hairy, like it, the it, just like standing there,
Cousin it,
right? And it's just standing there, and all I can see is like it's just looking at me, and I can hear it breathe, like like that breath, and I'm like, what? And I guess it's a night terror. I don't know, because I couldn't fucking after I know, I was like, oh, like what the fuck? And you close your eyes and you open and you think it's fucking God is still standing the fuck right there, and you're like, what the fuck? I don't know what, but how you get under the covers and you just like tighten that shit up, and you're like, what the hell? And I guess whatever it was, be it bad, be it good, I don't believe it was good. I believe it was bad. It was there to cause some sort of terror in my damn life, because it still affects me till this day.
That's crazy, man. Like, does that... Because it sounds almost like a sleep paralysis kind of story, too. Like, a lot of times you hear when people tell stories about sleep paralysis, there's always some type of, either creature, demon, shadow figure, or something. So I wonder if it might have been, some form of that, or like...
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
know. We always had something strange happening in the house. Right. There was always some sort of... You would look up to the side and see, like you would think you see something on the side. It's just because of the attraction of all the stuff. Because people would bring their worst to my mom.
Right.
Like, all the things that they carried on, their negativity would all come to the house. So where the hell is it going to stay? In my house.
Right.
So
now, another question I have for you is, would people consider your mom like what the fuck's the term? Bruja?
Not a bruja. There's a word for it and I forgot it. She's like I I would say I call it a head santera, but there is
Okay.
a word for her. She would always dress in white. It would
Okay.
always have to be dressed in white with the beads. I would
Now-
have beads as well. We would always have to have them.
Is Bruja more of the dark? Is Bruja considered more of the witch?
Yeah, I think more of the witch. Yeah, brujeria is more of the dark magic and the witchcraft.
Hell
That's
yeah.
Crazy.
what we would, But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, some crazy shit. And I mean, my mom stopped doing that years ago. She became what they call born again Christian after
Yeah.
we
Okay.
moved. She denounced all that, but to this day, it's like what the
Yeah,
like
it
when I
still sticks
read
with
it.
you.
Oh yeah, it'll stay for me, and that's I guess what got me into the horror stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And looking up horror like ghosts and goblins and to this day witchcraft and all that shit because
Sure.
you want to find out what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much crazy, But
That's awesome, man. I feel like I just saw a
Yes.
possible subject matter expert come into
Yes.
Julio's room.
I see it.
There she is.
There she is.
I saw a little bit. She's gonna have to come
Hello.
because I can only see the top of her head. There. Wait. There was face.
Hold on. You're gonna switch faces.
I'm
He
wrong.
said subject matter.
Yeah, go on, get Julio. Go on,
Get
get.
out.
He's
Yeah,
the real expert
yeah.
in all this. The only thing that I've ever experienced ever is her waking up in the middle of the night. All right,
And
is
be
like out of a dead sleep and getting freaked out by something.
Fuck.
And this was at the old house. She woke up out of a dead sleep and she threw a remote at the corner of my wall.
Oh.
So it scared the shit out of me.
Because
Oh,
there
yeah.
was something coming towards me.
There was something coming towards her for
That's
it.
what he didn't know.
Holy
It
shit.
was a man coming towards me. And then I'm like, he's right there. You don't see him? And he's like, there's nothing there, crazy. Go back to bed. He was there.
Well, I mean, that would be most of our reactions, probably.
Pretty much, yeah.
Unless
Yeah.
it's Sam Maturo coming into the room.
If it was Sam Maturo coming in the room, we wouldn't. We'd be the man in the corner.
Yeah, that's right. In Bugs be the men in the corner. Yeah.
Is the only thing I would ever experience anything is like weird vibes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you kind of feel it and you wake up and you kind of think you see something, but it's really not there. You know what I mean? That's like the most I've ever experienced. Me, I've never kind of believed in ghosts and stuff like that because I've never really saw them. You know what I mean? But just those weird feelings that you get and you kind of like turn around and you think you saw something there and it just like
Yeah.
it all disappears from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this one here
Yeah.
has
Stories on
has
stories.
stories on stories on stories. If you guys want to hear some good shit,
Oh,
this is
absolutely.
the expert.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what we're here for, man. Like, before we get into it, though, like I was asking Javier earlier before you came, and Brujas are bad, right?
So new age brujas are not bad. Okay, so there's two different kinds. So like back when Javier's generation and my mom's generation, if there was a
Damn.
bruja,
Damn. I feel like
you know what I'm
shit.
saying? Like your mom was a priestess. She wasn't.
Right.
She's
that's
not
right.
a
Right.
bruja, but now they own it as bruja because light. Like so, there's like light and then there's dark. So there's a bruja that's for brujeria, which is like doing witchcraft against people, doing like playing with Santa Muerte, which Brando loves, or playing with voodoo and burying things and going to cemeteries.
Okay.
That is all from dark.
Okay.
Light. The brujas now, they like to call themselves the brujas that are working through light instead of calling themselves priestess, because they feel that priestess are more of the older generation of like Javi's mom, like like our grandmothers, abuelas. They're the priestess because they're still passing that on to us. It's kind of like a level thing. We're not at that level yet. So we haven't reached that yet.
It's the youngins as opposed to the OGs, basically.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like the new millennial bruja. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what would you say is the experience you feel spiritually that you can physically feel when you're doing like a reading or one of the things that you do?
Well, so it depends on the person I'm reading. So I read someone a few weeks ago, and I felt like I was on fire.
Ooh.
Like I was in a fire. And later, the person was Dominican, right? So they have ancestors who are very in on the island. And later, she told me that her mother prayed to the specific saint, who is the saint of fire.
Nice.
It was almost as if that saint was present to give the information.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes, well, most of the time it's cold, really, really cold.
Okay.
If something is correct, like as because you're talking it through, you're saying this is what I feel, and then you hear somebody tell you. It's almost like wind and the clairaudience. So there's clairvoyant, there's clairaudio.
Okay.
You can hear someone say, pointing you in the direction.
Okay. So the
Okay.
voice is more of the sight, and obviously the audio is more of the hearing.
And some can do both, and then it's just as if somebody is holding you to tell you,
Oh.
yes, you're on the right. Yeah.
Yes.
So so depending on what it is, you could be sitting there and explaining to somebody, this is what it says. This is, and if you're in the wrong direction, the stuff will fly all over the place. Sam can tell you, I asked the question and I said something about 5 cards. I got 5 cards. I asked for one specifically. I got one specific. Anything I asked for, I received to give them a message. So they're very much like, here's the message. Here it is.
Wow.
But that's not scary. I think what people tend to feel afraid of the unknown. That's not scary to me. The things that scare me are what energy comes with it, like Javi was saying about his mom. People have baggage that they don't like to talk about, and they bring that negativity through, and that can like cling to somebody. So we have to constantly clean our house and our lovely little fire we have.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say.
Yep.
So I want you to take a look at the picture. All right. I don't know if you're gonna place the picture anywhere, but if you look at it, it looks like a figure of Santa Muerte.
Okay.
Because look, the candle was specifically to remove negative energy.
Damn, dude.
So the burn mark looks like Santa Muerte, almost as if it caught what was sent. So you have to do work to remove negative energy.
Right.
So so that was done on purpose, is what you're saying, to get rid of the bad energy.
Right.
Yeah. So sometimes you light a candle, and you can light a candle and it'll be completely clear, and that's great because that means you don't have anything bad. But it could completely be black and crack, and you'll see images in the candles, and it's because whatever negative that was thrown at you has been caught, and it's showing you a candle.
Like my mom, we used to have to do that after every trabajo, every servicio or service, we'd have to do a cleaning in the house because you have to drive. So one of the things that we used was a coconut. And we would roll that coconut all over the house, and that coconut would some way attract that negative energy into that coconut. And we would do is we'd have to take that and go outside and throw it out and watch it crack and take that. Now, if you want to hear something strange, we did that once and she gave it to me to throw. I threw it. It cracked. The inside was black, like dirty black, like dirty.
Wow.
And I broke my leg throwing it. Just snapped my leg. Snapped it.
What? Because it's a reaction of the negative energy.
Right.
It's like seeing that it's being removed.
It got mad. Right. My mom said it got mad, so it hurt you before you.
I've been hurt physically by something that was negative. So I was lighting some candles, and this was like 3 or 4 months ago when I fell. He wasn't home, and I was telling him his brother has some issues going on, and I was thinking about how I just wished that good could come to him, and his, the people in his life are not of the light. As far as I'm going to go into it, I don't want to, get into that, but I thought about it and I said, you know what? No bad, just good. Just good. Lit a candle, lit all my candles, and was climbing over the gate, like a baby gate where we have the dogs.
Yeah.
And I felt somebody hold me and whisper to me and say, "This is for her," and push me. And I went flying. And when I mean I went flying, my foot got stuck in the gate and I landed on the tile and I almost broke my toe. Like my toenail was cracked. I was bleeding. I had bruises all over me, and I was just kind of laying there like when Mufasa dies in The Lion King. Everybody's looking around. The dogs are like circling around me, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing here right now. And I told him about it, and he's like, no, you had to trip, because he doesn't believe. So he's like, you had to trip. This is all in your head. You're crazy. That's all I ever hear is I'm crazy. But then I went to my lady, and my lady, I told her about it, and she's like, well, she sent that for you.
Wow.
She did that purposely to you. You received that because you had a negative thought, and you switched it to positive.
Now, my question for you, since you dabble in everything, is what is, all right, 2 stories from you. What is the scariest thing you ever experienced in actually doing a reading or, working with another person? And what is the scariest experience with this stuff that you've ever just dealt with, period?
I have never felt anything negative in a reading because I refuse to allow myself to be negative. They always say when you let dark in, dark will come.
Okay.
So I always stay toward the light. I will never, I can't, I'm always told dark always allows light in, and it's always good to do a little dark, but I personally am just not that type of person.
No, I get that.
I just can't, but I've been around readings. I can tell you one that was scary of my aunts that my mom told me, because we're all Javi's born into this. I've born into this. My mom was, oh God, how old was my mom? She was like 20 something. I was 2. And I remember this vividly.
Wow.
Okay. And she's like, how do you remember this? You're 2. We went to her church, and I wasn't allowed to go because my dad is not into this. My dad's very Catholic. So my mom snuck me there with her family, and they were doing there was we call him padrino, but he's like almost like the priestess, like Javi's mom. But he can invoke spirits.
Oh shit!
So
okay.
a spirit can come into him and say what they need to say.
Yep.
Anything can come. It could be good, bad, indifferent.
Yep.
Somebody who's a family member, someone you've never met, they come. And I remember being a child in this church, and I remember like the spread and everything, and my aunt went up there, and the spirit came, and they looked at my aunt, and they said, you remember that time you fell down the stairs? That was me. I pushed you. And she was terrified.
Wow.
And cackled at her.
Yeah.
And she's like, I come for you all the time, they said to her. So just remember, whenever you feel something, it's me. But they wouldn't reveal who they were.
Right.
They just told her that. And I remember being a child, 2 years old, just watching this and being terrified. And then later, as I'm older, my mom tells me, and I'm like, she fell down the stairs, right? And she's like, yeah, how did you know that? I'm like, I remember sitting there watching this. And she's like, you were 2. How do you remember that? So that's just something that
it stays with you forever.
It stays with you because you're like,
that
is terrifying. But things have happened to us as kids because where you live, if you're not protecting your home,
Mhm.
it can attract the negative. So my father's house as a child, it burned down. My father decided to get money and rebuild it for us to live in. And we lived there. And my cousins and I would, sleep in my grandmother's part of the house. And there was this man in the kitchen, in her kitchen. And because there was like two separate apartments that he made.
Shots.
And he was old, like the olden days outfits. And he was scary. And
Yeah.
he would like talking about it now, I'm getting like chills.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
scares me. And he looked at my cousin the one day, and because we used to see him at night, like he'd just stand there, and it was scary. And he was like, "You should start a fire. You should start a fire." And he just kept saying to her, "You should start a fire." And to this day, she talks about how he used to tell her to start a fire in the house. And she's like, "Think about it. There was a fire before when our parents lived there." And she's like, "I think there was a fire before that happened like years before."
Holy
She's
shit.
a doctor. And she's like, "Do you think he like made the fire happen?" And I'm like, so we asked our dads, and they're like, "No, I think it was like an electrical thing. Like, they're not gonna acknowledge it."
Of course
My
not.
mom is like, "If he told you to start a fire, it's because he wants you to start a fire." It was only bad things that happened in that house. And now that house doesn't even exist anymore. They tore it down.
Nice.
So if you go to the Bronx and Giovanni's Pizzeria, it's a parking lot now. You can park there. So
Nice.
don't park there.
I was gonna say, don't park there because you
Yeah,
might
don't park there, right?
You
might
don't
tell
want
you
to take
to
that
set
home
on
with
fire.
you.
Wow.
But yeah,
That's
it's just lots
wild.
of light, lots of
That's
dark,
very
and you
wild.
just got to know where the line is and what not to cross.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's
That's,
crazy shit, man.
Now, what would you say? Because like I brought up Santa Muerte last night, and you looked at me, you were like, "No, no, 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 no,
You
no,
don't play with that,
motherfucker."
man. You don't play with that.
I
No.
don't.
No.
Do you
There-
know or ever have you been in or seen firsthand anything with that whole
Santa Muerte.
Santa
Okay,
Muerte?
so there are three different kinds of muertes. Okay, Santa Muerte can be represented three different ways: as the bride, which is like love and think light. It can be actually light things. The red is for like true love and like love spells and binding and like bringing together. And then there's the dark, which is like cemetery stuff. People who go to cemeteries to do magic, and it sounds crazy.
Not at all.
No, it doesn't.
There is a girl that I'm friends with in the community. She's in the Netherlands, and that's her saint. Santa Muerte is her saint. So she does all that kind of magic.
No shit.
And I'm like, girl, that's you. That ain't me. Like, I can't do that. But people who are looking to do bad on people, that is what they'll use to do it. For just,
Yeah,
but here's the thing. If you do bad on somebody,
it comes
unrighteously, it will come back times three.
Yeah.
So if
Times
I'm
three.
like,
Times
you know
three, yeah.
what? I'm like, Julio, I'm done with you. I'm gonna put you in this jar. I'm gonna bury you in a cemetery. I'm gonna do all this bad to you. And he didn't do anything to me. Yes, bad will happen to him, but eventually his protectors will turn that around.
Me.
It will turn it. Yeah, it'll turn it around.
I'll save you, baby.
You know what? I'm getting a little emotional, actually. A little much.
Dale.
You knew that was coming somewhere.
I did it earlier.
Did you?
Yeah.
But if you do it for justice, then justice is served. So like you can go to somebody and say, this person is doing wrong to me, and I'm a good person, and I never did anything to them. And that person who's willing to take on that burden will work with them Wednesday to undo what was unjustly done to you.
Nice. Okay.
I mean, people used to come to my mom, like almost sometimes in the middle of the night, and knock on the door and be like, my husband is cheating on me, and or my son is doing drugs. Can you do this? Can you do that? Or
Mhm.
this person robbed me. Can you make them lose all their money? And my mom would sometimes, if it was for a righteous thing, like someone is abusing a child or something
Right.
like that, then she would whatever she did. But she would never. And like you explained, if you do something bad and you do it and
Mhm.
you do the whole trabajo and you do the whole thing, it will come back. And my
Wow.
mom used to say, if you do the money thing or you do the death thing, it will come back to you 3 times over.
Oh shit.
And something will affect because it has to take something because they give, they gotta take.
Of
Yeah.
course.
So if they give you your what you want, you got to give something in return. They're not going to do it technically for free. That's
Right.
not going to happen. So I've
But
seen
if
it like
you're wrong, they will
right,
provide justice.
right, exactly.
So if if I want revenge on somebody,
Mhm.
it's still gonna come back to me. Like all
Right.
these things will be but if that's why they always say, like, I could choose to go to somebody and say, take care of her because she's doing me wrong and I haven't done anything.
Right.
And I'm a good person. But I choose not to because I feel like that's where God comes in because that's the hierarchy of everything, right? So there's God, Jesus, Mary, Joseph, whatever, and then not a whatever, but and then and then you know what I'm saying, like
My
the
bad.
12 of like the 12, but then there's the 7 Orishas, which are saints.
That's
So
what they were called. Thank you. You made
they're
me
called
forget.
Orishas.
Orishas,
So
right.
they're saints, and so Michael is not an Orisha, but he is an archangel. So each of these saints, Santa Barbara,
Give me 1 second, guys. I have to buy something.
yeah, each one represents something different. So you pray to them, you ask them, but it's always through God. And one of the things I always say to people when they get read is, your cards can always change. Your destiny is not sealed because only God knows your map, your plan. What this is right here is directions on life, right?
Right.
You can be detoured, so you may always like. They have told me, I was gonna get this house,
Right.
I knew I was gonna get this house in 2015. We didn't move here until 2018. So
Right.
for a long time, I was always like, "But when's my house coming? When
Right.
am I gonna move? Like, when is this gonna happen?" Like, it's not gonna come right away. They're just telling you, like, this is what you're gonna get.
Still waiting for my money.
Sometimes this guy with his money, because sometimes they'll tell you, like, listen, you do the work, you'll do it. A really good one, like a good story, is that last year I went to my lady and she said, "You're gonna get promoted," and a week later I was promoted.
Holy shit, that's
cool.
But she told me 2 years before that I was going to be promoted, but it was not going to be right then, and I had to wait for the man with the blue eyes. And she said the eyes like the ocean, right?
Look,
And I
Julio's
was like,
face.
he's got green eyes.
Julio's face. He's like,
I'm like, it ain't me.
It ain't you.
I ain't got no blue
I know
eyes.
you weren't gonna promote me. You don't do nothing for my job. Look at his face.
Damn, bro.
My boss, my new boss, my second, like my manager, like my next manager in line, he has blue eyes and they look like the ocean. Okay.
Nice.
And when I mean and like anybody who sees him, yes. Like when he looks at you, you're like, oh my God. Yeah, you go ahead, make the face. Listen, we know you have eyes that mesmerize, but that's
What can I say?
that's
yes,
all
he
they
does.
do. But I remember meeting him in person the day before, and we all went out to dinner, and
Wow.
he had these blue eyes, and he's like telling us about how he went to get read in Texas. And they're all talking about their experience with psychics and stuff. And I'm just sitting there like, yeah, like I'm not going to tell you what they tell me because my lady had just told me a week before, you're going to get promoted, and it's going to be from the guy with the blue eyes. And I was just like, he's like, well, it's not like I believe like, oh, tomorrow I'm going to get promoted or something. He literally said that at the table. And I sat there like smirking at him. And he couldn't figure out why I was smirking at him. And then when he promoted me, we went into the office for like a last goodbye because they closed their office down. And I was like, can I tell you something and hope that you're not going to be weird about this? And he's like, yeah. So when I told him, he is like, oh my God, I totally believe in this stuff. He's like, that's why you were smirking at me. I knew it. Like, he said, something kept telling me to look at you. Like, you were going to give me a look like, And then, like, I just knew.
This guy's, his face is blurred
His
out, but I
face
can
is-
still see all the.
You can see the
head
movement,
movements.
right?
But I mean, it's a lot of where I go and what I do is always positive and light, you know, because you don't want, like, things can scare you, absolutely, but you just have to remember, like, God is going to protect me. My ancestors will protect me. Like, you have a team behind you. Everybody has that. Everybody who passes on in your family that loves you protects you, and it'll always be there with you, you know. And the best way that I could say to him is that when I went the very first time to the lady, she said, she flipped a card and it was 2 chalices on it. And she said, you had a pregnancy where you gave birth to 2 children. And I was like, yes. And she flipped another card and it had 3 chalices. And she said, but originally there were 3 children in there.
Right.
And no one knew that there were triplets in there and that we lost the 3rd one at 8 weeks.
Right.
So she didn't know that. Like, she would never know that. And then she flipped another one and it was 1 chalice. And she said, you have 1 child that is currently living right now.
Wow.
And everyone else has passed. And she just, and I was like, how does this woman know that? Like, you know, like that feeling, like,
nuts.
it's so overwhelming. And then that's where it began, the journey. Like, she said, your son is okay. And she's like, he's coming through and he wants to tell you. He was specifically supposed to protect her to come. Like, she protected, so she was on top of him in the womb, so no one could ever disturb him. But he, in life, is going to protect her, is how she said it. And,
That's cool, man.
And you just, like, sit there and you're, like, overwhelmed. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's very overwhelming.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
Sure.
I
Absolutely.
mean, he acts like he hasn't gotten read. I've read him before. Everything I've told you has come out.
Almost.
Now, okay, I'm gonna ask this. Now, you said you don't like to read people with like a lot of darkness around them and stuff. Now, what if somebody's like just really into dark shit? Not to say a dark person, but like just
so like
Brando, myself, stuff like that. Like,
but see, okay, so there's a difference in being interested and there's a difference in playing with it, right? And Javi can like co-sign on that, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
You can definitely be interested in horror movies and ghosts. Like, we used to walk, there's this place in Allentown called Constitution Drive. There is stories on stories on stories of what it could be. Albinos, dead, homeless, I don't know, like hauntings. We used to go, you know, ghost hunt as teenagers and almost get caught by the Salisbury Police Department for trespassing.
Of course.
You know, that wasn't an albino family back there, and they were like, you know, disturbing the peace. But there was no, as far as like, you just tapped my shoulder and I forgot what I was gonna say.
I tap your shoulder.
Oh.
But like, as far as he's like,
okay, all right,
man.
That wasn't you.
No.
Oh wow.
Well, there
All
you
right.
go.
Hey, shut
There you go. Hey. Stop.
As far as like, so you're not doing magic on other people. You're not being negative towards people. If you're a negative person, that's different. You know, you can be into like ghosts and goblins and stories and, you know.
What about yeah? What about
Satanists?
Yeah.
I mean,
now,
as far as I know, I mean, I don't mess with it, but as far as I know, like, most people who say that they belong to like the Church of Satan are not really Satanists. They're just more of a atheists who don't want people who are Christians to take over, like Christianity to be like implemented in everyday lives type of thing for like government and all that stuff. Like, it's not really worshiping the devil. And the people who do, Yeah, I don't know anybody that does, and I would stay away from that. That's just me.
As he smiles.
You know?
As he
No,
smiles,
I am
right,
not. I am
right.
not a LaVeyan. I do not follow the book of Anton LaVey.
Anton LaVey.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, I remember back in now here goes I'm showing my age again. Back in the
I love you.
back in the eight
Back in the Roaring 20s.
back in the 20s, when Anton LaVey came out in the Church of Satan,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it was like the biggest thing. Like everybody wanted to be a Satanist. He was on talk shows. He was, they did the video, right? And I got interested. I got the Satanic Bible. I read it. I ended up getting the Necronomicon, because the Book of the Dead.
Hell yeah.
Trying to study all that stuff, because being all that positive, you want to know what that positive is
dark.
fighting, because you want to know what you're against and
Right.
what supposedly is. But what's scary is that the negative or the dark pulls you a lot more.
Oh
It's
yeah.
more interesting than the light part.
Oh yeah.
And you start to read it, and you start to learn about Anton LaVey. You start learning about I forget, I lose his name. His famous saying is, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." It's oh my God, what's his name? Aleister Crowley.
Crowley.
You start learning about Crowley, and you start learning about how he was one of the biggest Satanists back in the 20s and 30s, whatever.
Oh,
And that's the stuff that got me into my
The
wife
dark.
said the dark, right? And messing
Depends
with
on
it.
how you look at it now.
Right. I mean, I looked at it more of an educational thing, like to learn
Right.
about it, to
course.
defend myself against it per se.
Right.
Mhm.
But people get into it, and I mean, I had a few friends back in the 80s where we were into metal and hardcore, and they were really like, deep into the whole. They prayed to Satan, and they, did whatever they needed to do.
Right. Rock on.
But there are people out there. I mean, everyone has the right to serve whoever you want to serve. At the end, we'll all find out who the hell we're serving. That's my belief. I mean, at the end, I'm gonna face the maker, whoever that may be, and I have to face whatever issues. But
Mike
you know,
Mendel.
yeah.
That's
So it's
So like, if Brando were serving the Satan,
right.
I requested a reading, I would decline. Just because that
okay.
because your service without knowing, sometimes people don't know, they joke about it, and they're like, I'm just gonna mess around with this stuff, and then they don't know what they're opening.
Right.
The protectors of you may be negative, and they don't like the light, so they will try to come in and harm people who are helping you be more positive. They want you to be in a negative mindset, if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and knock anybody's beliefs or what my biggest thing is like, I follow the Kanyeism, I guess. There's a line that Kanye West says. It says, "What's a man to a king? What's a king to a god? But what's a god to a non-believer?"
Right.
Right.
So I'm always like very skeptical of things, and
Oh.
that's what actually got me. This is the only time ever we're going to talk about religion on this show, and it's not knocking anybody's religion, but it's just funny because people always correlate like the satanic belief system based on like darkness and evil.
Right.
And the person that really pushed that was Anton LaVey, but I feel like he did that for his own personal gain, because he was kind of like, was that guy, that pastor that goes around and like makes millions and millions of dollars?
He's
like
shit.
Yeah. So I don't know, the biggest premise, and I'm not actually a Satanist, everyone. I have no belief system. I believe in myself, and we all bow down to the almighty dollar, which is the true God. But
it's the money Jesus.
The most interesting thing, the money Jesus. Pesos for Julio.
No, what are they called?
They're actually called colognes in El Salvador.
Colon. All right.
Yeah.
I googled that shit last night.
At
the dinner table.
That was when you were walked away and smacked your ass. You missed that whole
Oh
conversation.
yeah, we got to tell Fuzz about that off camera. But no, the thing that interested me the most was that the negative connotation with people that are into like Satanists. Actually, the true belief system of Satanism, from what I gather from my research, is actually incredibly peaceful. More or less, like leave me the fuck alone. I'm gonna leave you the fuck alone.
I always thought that like Satanism was more based in a extremist free will.
Right.
Kind
Yes. Well,
It's
that's the thing
fighting
with
against
Lucifer.
that, the free will, right?
Because people
It's free will.
often forget that Lucifer was the first angel.
First of the fallen.
Right.
And
Right.
the
Yeah,
reason
wow.
and the premise behind his falling was that he's like, I got in trouble and cast down because I questioned something that said, no, this is law, this is life, this is what you have to follow. But why? And then suck it. So it's all very interesting to me. I definitely would love to get a reading. I'm not actually like gonna unlock the portal to fucking. There's no Dana, only Zool, like any of that. Like, I promise, it's not gonna be like in Ghostbusters. I'm always interested in everybody's beliefs, and it's funny too because I also know somebody that practices Santeria and Santeria and does all this, and she was pretty much not officially excommunicated from the Catholic Church, but her church found out and was like, "You are not welcome here."
Yeah,
So
I mean,
there's like a weird fine line between.
Oh yeah, they won't. It's not absolutely. Catholicism will not accept Santeria at all,
even
because
though it comes from that.
right. That's what I said. It comes from it's a mashup of Catholicism, Christianity, voodoo, African religion. It's all a mishmash. So, but because, and we're gonna leave it alone because we can get into a whole deep debate on religion, and we don't do that here. It's a fun podcast, damn you all. All right. But it can get very ugly. And one of the things that you said, Brando, was about the whole Satanist thing. For what in my studies and stuff, it's pretty much like you said. It's about being who you are, being free to be what you want and who you are, and think the way you want to think, instead of having that whole thing on top of you. So that's the way you see it. But society makes the devil and Satan all put together and mishmash it. But either way, it's a scary thing. But you guys, me and Julio and the wifey here said scary stuff, but you guys haven't mentioned anything scary.
Yeah, that's a
well, this was mostly for you guys. We wanted to hear your side.
It's like a Latino thing. Like
it's a Latino thing. That's right.
Latino,
right?
yeah.
I mean, if we really want to get into like the
sprinkle that stuff.
No,
No, I definitely have something. Like, actually, it's funny because when you guys were saying your stories, it came to light, but I feel like I gotta save them because I'm gonna be on Lucy's show next week.
Right.
She wants me to talk like my experiences, and I'm just kind of like, oh fuck, like how far can I go with this? I don't know, because. Yeah, I don't know. We were because we touched base on the Santeria and things on one of the episodes where just me and Buzz talked, and like we're just two fucking gringos, and I'm like, let's bring in somebody that knows way more than us about this stuff. So
pimp out the Hispanics. Why not?
Stop! Oh God! And we just lost all 5 listeners now.
We're like, we knew it.
If I get a cut, I'm okay. No.
No,
The best thing I can always say is that some people will always be. They have a mission, like Santeras. Like they know what they're supposed to do, and then others will do it for the money. So you just have to be careful where you go and what you're looking for,
right?
Because somebody might do some work for you, like let's say you're like, I really like this girl, and I want it to work out, or I want to save my relationship. That's not really worth saving,
right?
And you go to a bruja that does brujeria. She's going to do the work for you, but she also knows that she needs your money. So she's not going to completely do it the way it's supposed to be. She'll allow it to be undone in order to get you to keep coming and spending that money. You know, so you always have to just know what you're looking for and what you're going for and what, because she's doing that lady, but she'll also have that karma. Because I've had, friends who have went to people who've done things like that. They've undone magic, but things will happen where it comes back because she's looking for money. Yeah. And then the shop closes because guess what? It comes back to her. that energy will come back to her, you know.
Of course.
Now, the quick funny thing with all that and Clarissa here, before we cut the segment and move on to the stupid Moops and Amanda's, but the funny thing is I wasn't really paying attention. When I was like, oh, last night too, I was like, oh, I would like to get a reading. I fucking thought like Clarissa like read palms and it was gonna be like 5 minute kind of thing, and yeah, go ahead, read this big mitt, and that's about the end of it. And then afterwards, Julio's like, yeah, so you know what, like, and then he tells me what it's about. I'm just like, oh, fuck. Like, it could go for like 2 hours sometimes, or even more.
Sam's was 2.5 last week, but that's because we got into a big discussion. I've had it be as short as like 45 minutes. That's short. But I
hear that, Julio? That's considered short.
Oh, you know.
Wait,
yeah, we have this conversation now.
45 minutes is short, then I'm fucking.
But keep in mind, people pay for what they want, right? So what they're seeking. So I could just do a regular quick spread and it could be 15 minutes to a half hour, but it's going to be just one card deck and you're not going to get clarification on what you're looking for. I have 11 decks, so I go through interchangeably looking for like, okay, so this is the map. What are the messages for it, you know? And what do they need to do? I don't, and it's a confidential thing unless somebody tells you. So a friend of mine allows me to tell her story, and I think I told you, Brenda, last night. She was lost. She had lost a baby. She had 3 other children. She's like struggling at work. She just couldn't get it back together after she lost this baby. And she's like, I don't know if I want another one, and I don't know if work is going to be for me, and I don't know if I should continue with school. So I read her, and it came up. You will have another baby. You know, you're going to get pregnant by Christmas. You're going to announce by Easter, and that baby's going to be born on September 7th, which is Yamaya, which is the fertility saint. That's her feast day. And I said to her, it's going to be a boy. I just know it's going to be a boy. And then this was like September-ish that I read her. She got pregnant that Christmas.
No shit.
And her due date was September 7th.
No shit.
So she like called me up like crying, and she's like, it's a boy. You know, like she's like, it's a boy. How did you know that? And I'm like, they told me it was going to be a boy. Sometimes they'll tell you, and sometimes they won't. You know. So it depends on what you're searching for. And some people do it just to like, oh, I just want to see what comes up. And they don't understand like what could be brought up.
Right.
And there's always a lot of tears. Like,
listen,
I've made a lot of men cry.
I'm willing to go the full, and I can sit there. So I'm really curious. I want to do it as long as no fucking cards get thrown on the table. Like, you're gonna have a baby. You're gonna have a baby. You're gonna have a baby.
Oh, there you go. You can't say
I don't want
that.
no babies.
You can't say that.
So here's the thing: if that's your destiny, that's your destiny.
Right.
But they won't tell you though.
Let's just say if my wife gets pregnant, it ain't mine.
I mean,
just call Sam. That's all.
Was gonna be there.
Just call
I'm
Sam.
willing to do anything and everything with that. I'm really interested and totally curious, and can't wait till we make it happen.
Yeah, we can
I don't know, man. I don't know if I could ever do that shit, because the only time I had any experience with that, I had a fortune teller tell me I was gonna die when I was 24.
Well,
So,
let me tell you, Sam did tell me that he had someone read his palm, and she said he was going to be a pediatrician married with 3 kids. As we know, Sam is none of those things.
yeah, but the last thing I need is to sit down with you, and the first card you flip is the death card. You're like, hey,
okay, but see, here's the thing. Death doesn't mean death in tarot. So death, you see a death card, people are like, oh my God. Death means the end of something and a beginning of something new. And when people see the devil card, they're like, oh my God, the devil. No, the devil represents jealousy and controlling, and like in a relationship that's if it's relationship, you know, if it's synonymous with a relationship, it could mean like a toxic relationship.
Oh,
like you guys are bound through this toxicity, you know. But when it's in reverse, it means the opposite. Like it's a free and loving and caring relationship. So it really all depends.
That's really cool, man.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
You too, Fuzz. You
Very
gotta go
excited.
into that.
Yeah,
Dude,
FaceTime
I was
call.
actually thinking in my head right now, like I would love her to read Nicole. I would love her to read my wife. Like I don't know. I'll have to talk to her.
I dream I had about Nicole.
No.
So I have dreams sometimes. Sometimes they happen. Sometimes they don't. And I told him I had a dream that him and Nicole were having an affair. And I was like, you gotta watch yourself with Nicole, because I'm telling you right now,
Wow.
you gotta watch yourself with Nicole. And
Oh.
he's like, Nicole. I was like, Fuzz's wife. I was like, you better watch yourself.
I almost got
Hold the
smacked
phone.
for that for no
Oh,
reason.
wait.
I'm a little jealous here because if you're having dreams about him with anybody else, should be with me.
So,
Yes.
you were there. You were there.
Oh,
God.
wow.
You were encouraging this whole mess.
Oh,
The
shit.
fuck no!
Oh, shit.
Yes, you were.
That's a fucked up dream.
You really were. You were like, you guys should just separate. You guys should just, give each other some space. It's
That should be
okay.
between me and Brando, though. We should have that
No,
relationship.
Brenda wanted you to be free with everybody. Free loving. And
Wow.
Nicole was the first victim.
No, it should have been Brando.
I was just like, what the fuck is this?
Free.
Like, who's this girl? Who's this girl again? Tell me who she is. And he's like, this Fuzz was like, I was like, you don't stay away from her.
Well,
Back
awesome.
up.
Wow.
Nice.
I was like, I didn't do anything. It was a dream. But
That's
sometimes
awesome.
dreams represent other things. Like I had a dream that me and him were splitting, and it was like horrible. And I woke up crying, and it was just like emotional. And later, my brother told me he was splitting with his wife. And
Nice.
my wife came over crying, emotional, and
Yeah.
it was like really like I could feel what she was going through in advance. But they won't show me. I'm not there yet. I'm not allowed to be there yet to see
Right.
who it is. I'll see it for myself.
That's
It can
awesome.
be confusing,
Yeah. Oh, of course.
but
Absolutely.
you do the work, you get rewarded.
Yep.
I tell that to him all the time. But
I bet you do.
Mhm.
unfortunately,
Awesome.
I
Well,
always do my work.
on that note, we're at an hour and 6.
Oh, wow.
Shit.
Oh, man.
So thank you so very much, Clarissa. Much
Thanks,
appreciated.
Clarissa.
Thank you so much
Awesome.
for schooling us in the arts
Thank you.
of all
Don't
things.
send any negatives my way.
No.
Oh, never.
Anybody watching this, you can take that
Nah.
and put it somewhere else. We review.
I'm gonna get Hispanic right now. Positiva.
Wepa!
Epa!
Awesome. Well, that concludes that, and now we have the most interesting portion of. Well, not the most interesting portion. The fucking part that's in the title of our goddamn show. But now we added also the Amanda because I'm a dickhead and just add fucking things all the time. By the way, did I tell you the negative connotation with Amanda I've gotten so far?
Oh.
A person whom I work with just had a baby girl.
Named her Amanda.
No, negative K. He agreed with his wife during the pregnancy. They knew it was going to be a girl. They love the name Amanda. It's normal, it's basic, but it's a lovely name after all. And
Of course.
And about month and a half ago, 2 months, whenever we came up with the Amanda, he got it in his head. He's like, I cannot fucking name my child Amanda now. Just can't do it. And that led to like an enormous, I guess, argument with his wife because they were like dead set because also her mother's Amanda and like it was a middle name of the grandmother.
Oh, wow.
And then he's like, yeah, we can't do this. We can't name our child Amanda. And she's like, why? He's like, fucking 2 guys, 1 moop. She's like, what do you mean?
Okay.
And so he basically found that episode, played it, and she is so mad.
Oh, wow.
But for awesome reasons. She's so mad because she fucking stopped the YouTube video and she's like, I'm so mad that this motherfucker totally ruined this name for me, but you're right, we can't name our child.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
man.
I forgot to tell you, she
Holy
told me this
cow.
like 2 weeks ago. So now he recently, I want to say it was actually like 4 days ago,
Right.
4 days ago, had the baby. And
Nice.
the baby is not named Amanda. And I would love to tell you what, sorry, buddy, I fucking, whenever people start talking about children and babies, like I just like, So, congratulations to your new baby girl, bro. And that's that. So, yes. So we ruined that name for many, many people.
Well,
Right.
you can say ruined or you can say saved.
True.
Yes. Yes.
Very true.
Facts.
Because who knows? Who knows? They could have been like, two dickheads on the internet. They could have named their daughter Amanda. She could have grown up, and then she could have been a dick.
That's right. I'm going to flip that card now. This is going to be my Amandarina, right? That name sucks. It's in the cards.
The cards.
Well,
But,
speaking of all
who's
this-
our Amanda?
who is our Amanda?
You guys know because we had a little meet and greet last night with a few members of our club
Yes, we did.
out in Yonkers at a place, and
We missed Fuzz. We missed Fuzz
missed
on
Yes,
that
we
one, man.
missed you, bud. We missed you.
yeah,
Next time, guys.
it sucks to suck. Fuzz is a fucking
Yes,
cuck.
sucks to suck.
But
Sex the socks on my fucking.
I'm not going to knock the fact that the place was busy, and I get it. However, we were there for at least 4 hours.
At least 4 hours, yeah.
Yeah, at least
We were there for at least 4 hours, and the waiter came a grand total, I counted because I'm a psycho, 5 times in 4 hours. And
Holy
Yep.
shit.
that's a little crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, the place is busy, but also there's also 8 bartenders behind the bar, and they were just forgetting people. It took 45 minutes for them to just acknowledge, the waiter to just acknowledge somebody's drink that they forgot like a half an hour prior. So somebody was waiting for like an hour and 15 for a drink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I get it. We all are off our mark, but that's fine. We're all Amandas sometimes. And would you,
Yeah,
two
45
fine gentlemen,
for a drink.
would you agree that our waiter was the Amanda?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, that was the
Absolutely.
best part too.
Yes.
What really did me in was when we tried to call him over was, I think, Eric or something, and he did the psst.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So that's when I was just like, all right, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're an Amanda.
Okay.
If you're all right, if you are a server, I get it. You get busy. They have busy times, everything like that. But it is your job. So hitting somebody with the chit, that's automatic.
Especially when there's 10 people at the table,
Right.
and you got to do the math. It's going to be between $100 to $150 bill per couple, per 2 people. And then you got to take 20% tip on that. Like, that's like a $200 fucking tip that you're going to be
Right.
getting. So you might want to,
Sucks.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
that's
Apparently
okay.
Yeah, he definitely was the Amanda that yesterday.
Yes.
Oh,
I mean, we were trying to be nice and understand that they just started the indoor dining and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Right.
But I'm sorry, man. If you you got to be on your game, and he was definitely. I mean, I ordered a freaking iced coffee, man, and it took half hour for me and Eric to get his beer.
Oh,
Forget
yeah.
that. That was
That they didn't even have.
Well, it's funny,
right.
yes.
It took him 40 minutes to
Took
come.
him
and
40
tell
minutes
us-
just to come back and tell him, oh,
They
we don't
didn't
have that beer.
Right.
And it was Miller Lite, too.
Yeah,
Miller Lite.
Miller Lite,
Yeah.
right? Yep.
But that segues perfectly into a kind of directed Moop, but then redirected to another Moop.
Mm.
And it's from the same incident from the same day. So now we always said that we're not going to make other club members
Moves.
Moops. However, you'll see how this kind of the initial Moopage takes a fucking right turn and comes right back to somebody else. So basically what happened was there's this ongoing joke that Stampede cucks. He's a bull, and he cucks everyone.
Everyone.
So I just found it, and I didn't say a fucking word, by the way, last night. So we go, and here's Sam sitting, and then there's 2 empty seats to his right. Like, my wife fucking, like, pistol shrimped and sat right next to him immediately. And I'm just kind of like, all right, that's cool. So then all of a sudden, Sam is he's like, haha, yeah.
Yep.
Well,
That was awesome. That was
So
awesome.
I'm just like, all right, I dig it. That's fine. That's cool. I see. So now I'm pushed to the end.
Okay.
And so now the Amanda waiter comes and he's trying to break down the bill,
Okay.
which I don't even know how that managed.
That was a hot mess.
That was a hot mess on itself. And watching fucking Ed trying to figure out the thing, he's like,
Oh man, that was great.
oh, real quick, shout out to Ed because he took a picture and he did
Yes.
one of these where instead of pressing the volume button to take the picture, he pushed the button like this. And it was a beautiful picture of like
His finger?
no, his wristwatch.
His watch.
But yes, he's so cute. I love that man. But
Nice.
so I don't know how this happened. Well, I kind of do, but so then it comes to the last people to get marked off on the check is myself, my wife, and then Sam all by himself.
Mm-hmm.
So fucking Sam just looks at the waiter, puts his arm around my wife, and he's like, it's on him. So I look at the waiter and to now put Sam in a weird, really I guess I have no filter. I looked at him, I was like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm his cuck. Like, he fucks my wife and I'm his cuck, so I may as well pay for his meal. Now this was all a complete joke, and the waiter even was like, ha, okay, you guys are so funny. The fucking guy put Sam on my check. So Sam, love you, but fucking Big Moop straight up just fucking right around my wife and it's on me. So now here's the best part. So Sam, original Moop, comes full circle to me now, the fucking Moop, because I just ended up paying for this guy who made a joke about fucking my wife. And it's the best part. What now makes me the Moop is that waiter went home and was like, what the fuck? Like, and then the icing on the cake was right when he says, okay, yeah, and the three of you, Sam turns to me and goes, thanks, Daddy.
Thanks, Daddy. Yes. Yep.
So original Moop,
Yep.
Sam, and then came back. So yes, for the second time on the show, I inadvertently became the fucking Moop of the week.
Moop of the week. Nice.
So you're welcome for dinner, and fuck me. Oh, I guess fuck her.
Fuck her.
But, yeah.
Fuck everybody, because guess what? It sucks to suck.
Sucks.
Sure
And
enough.
I swear, after I swipe my credit card, I got this from Sam.
The old American Psycho humping the mirror.
So that's that. That's the end of the show, gentlemen. Thank you so very much for coming on.
guys.
Thanks for
And
having us, man.
Thank you,
as well
man.
to your
Oh
wife,
wait, come on.
Joe.
Yes.
Yes.
I almost had to be Moop again next week. We forgot to do our shout out,
Ooh.
but it's good. This is the end portion. So real quick, we wanted to do a shout out to Instagram at 13 Folds Flags. That's 13, the number, then Folds Flags. I'm sure Buzz will put it here, somewhere here. And he's going to throw up pictures of the work.
Yes.
So basically, it's a friend of mine. And yes, totally don't give a fuck if you're telling me that I'm swaying your business towards my friend. Yes, I am, but his work speaks for
Awesome.
itself. I work
Yes,
with
it
this
does.
guy. I'm friends with this guy. Fucking aces, dude. He builds and creates flags out of wood that can have laser etchings of almost like anything you want. He also does like the stripes on the flags can be real hockey sticks and things like that. So he also happens to be a huge shellhead. He loves the Ninja Turtles. He's not so much into anything else with comic books, but dude, he's a big time fucking Ninja Turtles guy. And he decided to make this flag, and they're huge. And by the way, his pricing is definitely competitive, and he's cheaper than everywhere else, and his quality is actually better. So just throwing that out there.
Oh my.
He made this Ninja Turtles flag that has all the turtles where the stars are, and then each stripe is panels, like pages, like replicate pages from the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles run.
Yes.
And it just looks
Sweet.
so fucking sweet.
That's
Dude,
fire, man.
does.
That's fire.
So
And-
he can do any sizes. Also, he does different sizes, but he can also do just like regular panels with whatever you want. It doesn't need to be a flag, but
Right.
that's that. So shout out to my boy Lambo.
13 folds flags. And
Right.
by the way, real quick before we jet, that hockey stick flag that he did was amazing.
Oh, you saw it. Yeah.
Yo, absolutely, dude. I went through his entire page and looked at everything. And like that hockey stick flag, just like I was like, damn, dude, that's such a cool concept. It was just top notch.
So go follow him at least, and hopefully make an order one day. He's going to be working on something. I'm very, very, very specific that I want.
Ooh. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I'm letting him basically because he's my friend, so it's not like he's not going to be here fucking next year or the year after, like forever friend. So, like, I'm letting him get other people's orders out and things that he does, like retirement, anything you want, he'll put on a flag, as long as it's obviously like he's not gonna. He's like it follows the guidelines of the pod, so no religion, no politics, no fucking stupid shit. Like if you call him and you're like, oh, can I get a bunch of dicks in the shape of like swastika? Like fuck off, man. So nothing like that. But yeah, I know I got Julio horny for that fucking turtle flag.
Yes, you did. I think I want it now.
Yes. Well, hit up 13 folds flags and be
There
like,
you
hey
go.
man.
I
Oh,
want that shit tomorrow.
Tell him
Overnight
Brando
that shit.
sent you.
Oh, I sure will.
Oh, pull a Sam and say it's on him.
It's
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Yes.
And then when you get the flag,
And when you
sent
get
to
it,
us,
thank you, Poppy.
thanks, yeah, Poppy, yeah, it'd be that. The Sasson, no daddy, just Poppy.
That's
Awesome, guys. Again, thank you so very much.
thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank
Like I
you.
said, thanks for having us, man.
Thanks,
All right.
Awesome.
Have a great day and a good Halloween, and it sucks to suck.
It
Yeah,
sucks.
it
Stay
sucks.
safe. And what should I say? What's my end quote today?
I don't know.
I don't know. Kick rocks, eat dicks. See you later. Have a nice day.
Ooh.